Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are safe. I hope everything's good wherever you guys are. So guys, we've got the big fight tomorrow. It's upon us. 5 years of waiting, and we finally got the big fight. And this is the final prediction to the big fight. I've got Salman with me, and we're going to make a final prediction here. Salman, obviously I've given my thoughts about this fight. I've gone into depth. What do you think of this fight? How do you see this fight playing out? What do you make of it?
I think it's a good fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. Obviously, I have my prediction. I think it's obviously, I think it's going to be an all-time classic, to be honest, because I don't think either guy wants to obviously give up and, lose this fight.
What do you make of it? What do you make of them, the weigh-in first? Like, obviously, I know that they haven't actually had the public weigh-in, but they've done their way.
Make a lot out of it, you don't really know until...
Spence, does he look drained? Does Crawford look...
Yeah, probably. I would say Spence more so because he's a lot more bigger and, he's more likely to be drained. He's been at the weight a lot longer. He's a lot bigger fighter than Terence Crawford. So if anyone is going to be drained, it is going to obviously be Errol Spence. And plus, he hasn't fought for nearly 1.5 years. So that'll obviously play a massive factor as well. He's obviously not made weight for a long time. So that'll probably play a bit, a factor as well, if he hasn't obviously made the weight comfortably. I think Crawford, he just looks how he normally does. He's not really that big of a welterweight. But yeah, I don't think, Crawford struggled to make the weight, but I think Spence has probably struggled, a lot more than Crawford.
So we obviously know that both guys are very confident. They believe in themselves. The trainers have been going back and forth. Salman, what are the strengths and weaknesses in this fight for each guy? What do they have to do to win?
So obviously Crawford's obviously got the agility, got the natural talent. Spence has obviously got that come forward style, relentless. He's got a lot of, Crawford's obviously got, good counter punching skills. Spence throws good body shots. He's consistent, but obviously, it's a fight. It's who's going to get their game plan off, really. Who's going to, be able to, make their game plan work on the night, really. And yeah, it's going to be it's going to be a brutal fight. That's for sure. Neither man's going down easy.
Salman, Eddie Hearn says that he thinks Terence Crawford puts Spence away. He puts him to sleep. If Spence comes out and goes gun blazing, if the fight is at a high pace, that Terence Crawford is going to put Errol Spence away. A lot of people seem to think that Terence Crawford's got the power to really hurt Errol Spence. Errol Spence has shown a granite chin throughout his career. What do you make of that? Do you think that Terence Crawford's got the power to hurt Spence?
Sorry, did you say Terence? Well,
yeah,
I think obviously, Terence Crawford does have the power to hurt anyone probably at welterweight, but I mean, obviously, the people are, I think Spence has the power to hurt him, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm sorry, but this is the hardest puncher Terence Crawford faced in his career. Although I don't think Spence is the biggest one-punch knockout artist, but in terms of consistently punching hard, this is the hardest puncher he'll have faced. And to be honest, even one-punch power, this is probably the hardest puncher he's faced at welterweight. We all know Sean Porter, he's a guy that throws a lot of volume but has no punch power.
But Special K has power. Special K, he hit Golovkin with the uppercut and Golovkin went off his feet.
Yeah, but obviously Special K was at the end of his career and he was shot at that point. I'm sorry, when he fought when he fought Kell Brook, and Kell Brook was getting off the jab, against Crawford. He was hit. Obviously Crawford timed him with a good shot, but it was behind closed doors. Kell Brook, was in his backyard. Everything was favouring Crawford at that point. Crawford was on an upward trajectory and Kell Brook was on a downward trajectory. And also, Kell Brook hadn't fought at 147 for 5 fights. So you got to realise he's boiled down in weight, which he can't make. And yeah, so I don't think you can really look at it like that. But one thing I will say...
Let's be honest, when Kell Brook fought Errol Spence, he gave Errol Spence nightmare. And he was many people had him up after 6 or 7 rounds.
You've also got to realise that one person's obviously fighting in his home backyard. That brings the extra 10-15%. And he also fought him, when he was still a champion. So he had something to lose at that point. When Kell Brook went and fought Terence Crawford, he wasn't a champion. He had nothing to lose. it was like a payday for him at that point. When he fought Spence, you got to realize when the person fought the person. Like as Spence said, when I fought Porter, he was a champion. He had something to lose. He's like when Porter fought Crawford, he didn't have anything. He had everything to gain, but he didn't have anything to lose at the same time. So, and that was obviously Porter after that fight retired. You know, Brook, you know, he was already damaged goods at that point. You know, a broken eye socket from Golovkin, and then Errol Spence broke the other eye socket. And you got to realize Spence's run at welterweight's been a lot more impressive than Terence Crawford. He's fought a lot better competition at welterweight. You know, he broke Ugas. You know, Sean Porter's fought Ugas and couldn't tiddle him. Manny Pacquiao fought Ugas, couldn't tiddle him, and Spence broke him. He beat him up so bad that they had to stop the fight because his eye was that bad, and he could have, you know, lost an eye.
Salman,
so this guy's a talent.
I'm making a prediction here. I'm putting it out there. I think Terence Crawford puts Errol Spence away. I think Terence Crawford is going to stop Errol Spence in this fight. I think his knockout run at welterweight will continue, and Terence Crawford will become the first man and the first boxer, a second boxer after Clarissa Shields, to become undisputed in a second weight class. I think Terence Crawford's got that mean streak. I think he's going to catch Errol Spence, and I think he might even stop him. I think Terence Crawford wins this fight by stoppage. I'm going out there and saying that Terence Crawford is going to win this fight by stoppage.
I don't think so. Because the thing is, you got to realize with Spence has never been dropped in his career, right? And he's fought the best fighters really at welterweight.
So tell me who wins this fight and why.
I think Spence will beat him. The reason
What, by knockout or by points?
Could be both. I can't give a prediction on that, but I feel like Spence will win. And the reason why I feel Spence will win is because I'm very, very confident if Spence lands a clean one on Crawford, I wouldn't be surprised if Crawford goes all over the place. I'm not convinced over Crawford's chin, if I'm being honest. He's not fought anybody at welterweight that could test his chin. And like this is what I mean. Like if he had fought Danny Garcia or fought a huge punch at welterweight, although I think he beats Danny Garcia. But what's to say if Danny Garcia lands that left hook clean on Crawford? I've seen Crawford hurt at lower weight classes. I've seen Crawford hurt against Kavalauskas. I've seen Crawford hurt against Yuriorkis Gamboa, who was a lot smaller. Although Yuriorkis Gamboa at that point was touted the next Floyd Mayweather. But he's still a lot more of a smaller man. And, you know, Kavalauskas dropped Crawford. Crawford doesn't want to admit it. You know, Bomac in the corner was like, well, you hurt. And obviously Crawford nudged it off that no. But you got to realize these things. Kavalauskas isn't nowhere near on the level of Errol Spence. Everybody knows that. And
anyone can land a shot.
Yeah, anyone can land a shot. But it's about how you react when that shot's taken. And I'm not that convinced. I'm just being honest. I think Crawford's one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world. But if anyone can say to me that they're that confident in Terence Crawford's chin, they're lying. Because I do think if he gets hit on the button, I think he can go all over the place. That's just my opinion. I've seen it before.
You can say that anyone.
I've seen it before against. Yeah, not really though. Not really, because there's other fighters that take it on the chin like Canelo and Golovkin and they don't get tiddled. There's a difference. You know, when I see a chin, I can tell like Golovkin.
But by now he would have been exposed. Someone would have got him. Doesn't matter. He's fought enough good fighters for
like
who? No. But what do you mean who? He's fought. He's fought Khan. He fought Jeff Horn. He fought Kell Brook. He fought Porter. He fought Gamboa. He fought Kavalauskas. He fought Avanesian. He fought Jose Benavidez. He fought John Molina. He fought Julius Ondongo.
Yeah, but none of those guys are Errol Spence.
But bro, it doesn't matter.
They're not even on. Like,
it doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
It doesn't matter. Someone would have caught him and wobbled him and taken him out. Trust me, if you're chinny, right, eventually, it doesn't matter who you're, because he's fighting enough good fighters. He's fighting enough good fighters.
Terence Crawford is chinny.
That's nonsense.
Terence Crawford is chinny, man. Like, if you go down against Kavalauskas, I'm sorry, but Errol Spence wouldn't go down against Kavalauskas.
That's nonsense.
He'd destroy Kavalauskas. Like, let's be honest.
How are you saying that Terence Crawford on chinny? What basis? What? Because he's been wobbled. I mean, Spence has been wobbled. Spence got wobbled by Kell Brook.
Spence got wobbled against Ugas, but let me tell you what, yeah. his gum shield had come out and he had looked down at his gum shield. He needed to get his gum shield and Ugas landed a 1-2. And then straight after that, Spence came straight back at him and he started teeing off. Nah. Don't get me wrong, Crawford, he starts teeing off as well when he gets hurt.
Let's be real, son.
But he is a bit chinny.
Let's be real. If Crawford catches Spence, it's over. You know, Crawford's got a very good finishing instinct, so he's going to take Spence out.
I don't think so. I don't think Crawford's been the distance before. Jose Benavidez took him 12 rounds.
Never took him 12 rounds. Yeah, he got stopped.
Yeah, but in the 12th round, that's what I'm saying. So you think Spence didn't go in 12 rounds?
Nah.
Unless Spence is completely shot and finished.
Nah.
There's no way, I promise you. There's no way, in my opinion, unless Spence is completely gone from the layoff and all the stuff he's gone through, there's no way that this Crawford stops Spence.
Crawford's mean. He's mean.
Yeah, and so is Spence. Spence is mean. Trust me. Certainly against somebody. You got to realize, yeah, like, for example, they go on that basically Crawford stopped Sean Porter, right? But you got to realize, as I said to you, look what Sean Porter's dad said after that fight. He didn't train how I wanted him to train. He didn't do the things I wanted him to do. I'm not using that as an excuse, but yeah, all right, cool. If Crawford is this big puncher and stuff, and you know people are saying he's so mean and that, he'll stop Spence, and it. But I don't believe so because I believe that Spence has the durability, and what I mean by durability, Spence beat as Sean Porter said, Spence beat me when obviously they fought. Sean Porter said that Spence beat me at my own game. Crawford beat me at his game. So you got to although that's not, you wouldn't say that's going to, you know, play a part in the fight, but I genuinely believe the way Spence's style, even Kenny Porter said Spence will beat Crawford because Spence is defensively responsible. It's going to be a lot harder. Look at Jose Benavidez, right? Let's take him as an example, right? Obviously you'd say he's a poorer version of Spence. He was very technical in that fight and fought at a slower pace, right? Terence Crawford couldn't find the openings. It took him 12 rounds. When a technically good fighter will fight Crawford that has good defense like Spence, it's going to take Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford needs a guy to come at him like Jeff Horn and Sean Porter where they make millions of mistakes. This guy is going to struggle tomorrow because Spence isn't going to give him those mistakes. So he's not going to give him those mistakes. Crawford's going to have to work for everything. And when the fight, well, this is what I've seen. Yeah, when you come at Crawford, he'll destroy you. But when you box, right, and he has to find the openings, right, it will be a long night for Crawford. It will take him a long time to get you out of there. That's from what I've seen. And Spence isn't like Porter where he's gonna come in and he's gonna be reckless and give Crawford opportunities to knock him out.
Let's be honest, though, man. Terence Crawford's winning this fight by knockout. There's no way Errol Spence is gonna beat him. Do you think so?
I just think
as the fight's getting closer, even though I was initially thinking that Spence might, but I just don't see how Spence wins it. I just feel like Crawford's got the bit between the teeth. After seeing the press conference, I'm even more confident that Spence is gonna.
If like people don't like, this is what I'm gonna say, yeah. If you genuinely in your heart think of all the fans and stuff that if Errol Spence Jr. lands a flush one on Crawford and he's not going to be wobbled or flustered with it, then I don't know what you've seen with an 80% knockout ratio. Spence has, by the way, knocked out Ugas. Yeah, Manny Pacquiao, okay, he's at the end of his career, but
he ain't got Marcus Alcino Maidana power.
I'm just telling you that if Spence doesn't just hit good to the face or whatever, it doesn't just break the face. We know he's a mean body puncher as well.
See, Spence is a technical.
Terence Crawford is, he's a technical fight. Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say.
But I just think that Terence Crawford will find.
Terence Crawford is special. Don't get me wrong, but
I think Terence Crawford's biggest nemesis would be someone like Maidana, somebody that would really rush him, very strong, very physically strong, and also like a bully, like a guy that's got a lot of punching power. Someone like that, a bully, like a proper rough, tough guy. Like even Porter gave him problem, but Porter wasn't strong enough, or he hadn't like Maidana could punch. Maidana had the power. You know what I mean? So Maidana would have made it a rough and tough, horrible fight.
Yeah, I agree.
So you know what I mean? That's what you need with Crawford. I think Spence is too technical, And I don't think, like, I think in order to beat Crawford, you need to be rough and tough like a Maidana, bite him, elbow,
But the technical fighters, Crawford takes his time. He doesn't take them apart quick. It's not, he takes the guys apart like Porter and guys that make a lot of mistakes. He doesn't take the guys that are technical apart. You got to realize this is Errol Spence is the most technical fight he's going to fight. He's not going to get. The thing is, one thing I'll say, Errol Spence isn't going to make those same mistakes that his other opponents have made, like Horn and Sean Porter.
He won't have to, because Crawford will find one opening.
He won't, because the thing is, he could find an opening, but it's going to be a lot more difficult than the Porter one, for sure. Because Spence has got high guard. He's very watchful what comes back. Spence is, look, a lot of people just looking at it like this, that Crawford has a natural ability, which he does over Spence. I'll give you that. He's got the agility, he's got the natural talent. But let me tell you this, the naturally talented fighter doesn't always win. Or the guy that has the better agility. Manny Pacquiao had quicker hands than Mayweather, but he didn't win the fight, did he? It doesn't mean that, if you've got better attribute than someone, or if you're more naturally talented, that genuinely means you're going to win the fight. It don't work like that. This is boxing and everything, styles make fights. And the reason why I think Spence wins, because styles make fights. If Spence was someone that was going to come at Porter, Spence is going to fight a very systematical fight. He's going to look to win on, the rounds. And let's be honest, Kell Brook was out jabbing Crawford the first 3 or 4 rounds till he got caught. And Spence is, in my opinion, at this point, a lot better version of what Kell Brook was. A lot better version. And Spence is a very good body puncher. And he's someone that looks to break you. He looks to break his opponents. He doesn't look to hit you with one shot where, he's a one-trick pony.
Time then, Salman, for the truth. Time for the truth.
I obviously think, my obviously final prediction, if I have to pick one.
You have to pick what you think will happen.
I think that Spence will win by unanimous decision. I'm not going to pick a knockout, although I think it can come, but I think that's probably, that's...
I think if a knockout comes, it's more likely to come in favour of Terence Crawford.
Well, obviously, we'll have to see, innit? That's obviously why the fight's here, innit? We'll have to obviously see who is the man. But all I'm saying is that don't think this fight, like a lot of people are writing Spence off because he's flat-footed and, but I really don't think Terence Crawford's going to make this a one-sided fight. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a one-sided fight. And if I'm wrong, I'll obviously come out and say that, but I don't... do you think it's a one-sided fight?
No.
I think Terence Crawford schooled Errol Spence? Is he that good?
No, I don't think he schools him. I think he'll find an opening.
Yeah, but what my point is that people are making as if this is just a walk in the park.
No, I think he'll find an opening. I think he'll catch him. And just some of the moments that I've seen against Ugas, I just think that eventually Terence Crawford hurts him a little bit. And that's it. But
Ugas is a lot more bigger than Crawford, man. He's massive.
Doesn't matter.
Ugas is massive.
Crawford is
my
explosive.
point is, a lot of people are saying, what if Crawford hits Spence? What if Spence hits Crawford, man? With that skinny... Brother, Crawford's got a skinny face, man. Imagine if he starts getting touched up to the eye and that. His eyes are going to go. Ugas was huge, man. Ugas, brother, a lot of people don't take these things into... Imagine, Crawford's going to have to use his agility. He cannot stand there and have a toe-to-toe with Spence. I promise you he will go. Because Spence can punch, man. The way Crawford wins this fight is using his feet and finding an opening, as you said. But he can't get into a firefight with Spence. Because if he gets into a firefight with Spence and Spence starts landing on him, flush, he could bust him up, like real bad. Real bad. I don't see Crawford busting Spence up. He's more snappy power. He's not grinding you down power. Crawford doesn't really have that sort of power. He's got snapping power. He catches you with your shot and hurts you, and he's a great finisher. So that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to catch Spence lacking, because Spence is very lethargic and slow. So that's what you're saying, that he'll find an opening, which he could. Don't get me wrong. Spence could come up, be off guard, and boom. And, Crawford can finish the job, because Crawford isn't Ugas. Crawford will finish you if he's hurt. Crawford will finish Spence off if he's hurt, by the ways. Whereas I think if Spence was to hurt Crawford, I think Crawford could, with his feet and his agility, probably maneuver himself out of it, even if he was hurt. But I don't think this is... I think it's a 50-50 fight. Obviously, I lean towards Spence. But I'm not saying by any means that Crawford can't win this fight, because Crawford's a world-class fighter. anyone could win this fight, is what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that I don't think this is as one-sided as what the fans are thinking and the betting odds. That's all I'm saying. I think Crawford can win, but I just don't think that, I think people are overlooking Spence because they think, maybe because of the car accident and the long layoff and, Crawford's natural ability, they're just taking that into consideration, but they're not taking anything that Spence brings to the table. But at the end of the day, we'll see tomorrow, A lot of fighters have their opinions, and obviously we'll have to see. Most people, though, I will say, are picking Terence Crawford to win, and obviously that's because he's obviously more active and, he's gone through less. But obviously, let's see, obviously tomorrow night we'll see everything.
I'm picking Terence Crawford by knockout to win this fight. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.